sleuths online. You kind of referenced it earlier when we were talking. Everybody's a true crime investigator. I mean, do you recommend that people do that? Because that woman was like a fan of Jared and then becomes kind of involved with the FBI. I mean, I have my own hot take on a lot of people investigating, which I think for the most part, they do more harm than good, because you are actually a trained journalist who's worked with law enforcement for years. I mean, there's a huge difference, but I don't know. What do you
I get
think?
asked all the time about, some of the vigilante groups that are out there going after sexual predators online. And I can tell you this, law enforcement doesn't like it. Typically, prosecutors won't take the cases. The ulterior motives are not always, clear. Some of these people out there are looking for clicks, and they brag about how many views they've had, and they go out to embarrass a guy. But if you embarrass a guy, look, some bad predators have been exposed by some of these vigilante groups, no question. But the methodology, the way they do it, the tone, the tenor, sometimes it can create more danger than it removes from society. And at some point, there's going to be a confrontation that people are going to regret, and it's going to be because they had the wrong motives here.
What can people do, though, if they love investigating? Because, I mean, true crime really in the past decade, and I mean, thanks to you, I mean, you kind of kicked it off, this sort of, in a good way, of actually outing things that need to happen in society. But like, if somebody loves investigating online, what do you recommend? I mean, are you hiring? What can we do?
Exactly. Well, we'll come work at True Blue with me.
Yeah,
but,
right.
There's nothing wrong with that. But I think, if you are aware of something, I mean, it sounds somewhat trite to say, contact your local law enforcement, but that's really what you should do. Contact your local investigative reporter, contact law enforcement. I mean, you got to let people know what's going on. You can't take matters into your own hands. Now, if you're curious about something and you're doing digging and research, fine, you should do that. But at some point, if there is a crime, if there is a predator out there, law enforcement needs to handle it, because that's the only way justice will be served. And that's the way the system works.
Talk to us about your show on True Blue, True Crime Nation.
We have True Crime Nation, which is a crime news magazine, which we're kicking off. And then we have Takedown, which is the new predator investigative series that we have on True Blue. And that now we have, I think, 36 new episodes, brand new episodes, predator episodes of Takedown, and many more in the works and in editing. And then True Crime Nation will be the news magazine where we do any number of, breaking crime stories, or, sometimes we take a story that's made headlines and go behind the scenes with the characters. This afternoon, I've got an interview with a guy who prevented a mass shooting at a club in Tampa. And these stories behind the stories, I find personally fascinating. And so we have a lot of that, and a lot of investigative and enterprise reporting as well. And, the network True Blue has a lot of other content on it as well. We have films and documentaries related to crime. We have a couple feature things related to law enforcement and work there. And so it's really a great opportunity for people to sample a lot of different work, and a lot of my work, the latest work, is all going to be on True Blue.
What do you enjoy the most? I mean, you're a TikTok star now. I mean, you're a Cameo star. I mean, did you ever think 20 years ago you'd be sending personalized messages to your fans?
Here's the funny thing about
$80.
Cameo.
I mean, I love it.
Cameo has turned out to be, and I know some people make fun of it, but it's turned out to be one of the most sincere talent fan connections for me that you could ever expect. And I derive story ideas from it. I am able to show a humorous side of me that I don't often get to show in my work. I rather enjoy that. And I don't, charge a lot for it. I do it because it's good engagement with people who have followed me for many, many years. And I enjoy it. And it's been a lot of fun. TikTok. Yeah. Who knew that, a 63-year-old guy could have, 200,000 followers and some videos that have 6.5 million views. I mean, but there is a relationship between the popularity there and people saying, oh, his work is on True Blue. And so it's important. I mean, Twitter, I've been on since 2007 because, the Predator investigations early on were, so closely tied, obviously, to the internet that, I had a presence very early on a lot of these social media platforms. Instagram, obviously, is very important to connect with people and let folks know when your projects are coming out. So it's busy. It seems like you can spend a lot of your day just feeding the gaping maw that is social media, not even, before you even get to your real job, which is creating the content that you're putting out on your network, but it's all part of the equation. And most days it works out pretty well.
I have like two last questions for you. Are we getting a Chris Hansen memoir, then documentary on True Blue? I mean, you've had a really eclectic, interesting life. And I mean, to be honest, I don't think networks are ever going to make stars again like they did with you and many of the talent at NBC or Fox. I mean, Tucker's gone. I mean, I just don't think that they're in the business of making stars anymore. And are we getting a memoir from you? I want to hear more about your life.
I will probably write something. I wrote a book on the Predator experience, I suppose back in 2007. And it was a lot of work writing a book, as it turns out.
Get a ghostwriter. I want all the
even though it's based on, that's in the works. I mean, I've been approached a number of times to do it. And honestly, it's a matter of being disciplined and sitting down and doing it. So it's, the work that you want.
We want the stories. How upset? I mean, Matt Lauer and Katie Kirk must have stopped speaking with you. I mean, you were the star at NBC. I mean, I work in a newsroom. They're very jealous. I mean, who cut you off and stopped speaking to you at NBC when you were huge?
No, I want to
know.
Listen, I have nothing but fond relationships with people at NBC News, and they're still among my best friends. And so there was no animosity there. It was just, I had a lot of other opportunities. That show was going in a different direction. It was very amicable, and I still have a relationship with NBC Comcast, properties, with Oxygen, and it's all very good there. And I've stayed in contact with most people and run into them, time to time socially or whatever, and not one bad feeling whatsoever.
Oh my God. Good. Well, I mean, look, I'm sure you have so many amazing stories behind the scenes. And I mean, I have to ask, did you and Theo Vaughn, did you and Theo Vaughn ever work it out? Theo Vaughn said,
Theo Vaughn, it's a long story, but it's he and I are just fine. There was a misunderstanding over a hotel bill, and I said, look, and he was joking around about it. And I said, well, let me send it to you. He said, no, man, we're cool. And then he brought it up again. I said, look, if you're going to bring it up, you got to give me your Zelle. It's $700, buddy. I've got a whole text. I've got the transcripts on it, but I think he likes having fun with it. But there's no beef there for sure.
Chris, look, seriously, I admire you so much. I think you've done a terrific job. You've done a huge service to people. You're entertaining. I mean, your reality show, you too. I really want to take you for coffee in Michigan because
sure, absolutely.
I feel like you are just filled with stories. And I mean, Chris, I don't know. I love it. You're terrific.
All right, Sarah. Well, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. People can find first of all, Predators I Caught is the terrific podcast that you have out. That's like top podcast, by the way. Book him on Cameo. Your TikTok's amazing. True Blue Network is where we can find your show, True Crime Nation with Chris Hansen. You can follow you across all social medias. Anything else, Chris? This was such an honor.
I think you covered it. I appreciate it. So watch trueblue.com, TRUBLU, and you get all the details right there.
Chris, have a great week. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.